For several weeks, the Lagos state government has been demolishing homes which, according to them, were built without approvals. The episode has raised fears across the diaspora about the safety of investing in real estate back home, which is one of the reasons why my next guest is gathering Nigerians living in the UK as part of efforts to alleviate fears. For more on this, I'm now being joined by Adetola Nola, CEO of Veritasi Homes and Properties Limited. Adetola Nola, thank you so much for taking time out to join me on Channels Business Global today. I've got to tell you, sadly, it appears as if some of the fears we had in the diaspora, years of listening to our parents, negotiating land issues and property issues, they had faded away, but over the past couple of weeks, there's been so much turmoil about land and property in Nigeria. Some of these fears have come back. I know you've got a massive event taking place this weekend here in the British capital. How are you and your team going to convince people living in London that it is actually safe and potentially lucrative to invest in real estate back home?
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Juliana, for that question. Again, my name is Adetola Nola, and I'm a property developer and advisor. I did that introduction again because people think that we are just a development company. Before we fully went into development, what we did was advise people on, how to purchase property in Nigeria, what to purchase, where not to buy, and all of these things. And then I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't do is they don't consult a property expert like Veritasi Homes before then going on the journey of acquiring properties. I mean, there's been a lot of demolitions, a lot of drainage problem recently in Nigeria, but none of our properties or none of our clients that we've advised, even when they bought from us or bought from any other person, developers that we told them to buy from, have been affected. So I think that people should again listen and find a very trusted advisor. That not just a developer to put them through, and obviously a legal person to take them through that process of acquiring properties. And all of this would really not affect them. With what is happening on the mainland in Mende, I have looked into it, and then I think that a lot of people around that place, they didn't do what they needed to do before building on the drain, which is something that we will never do. However, maybe the way the government have gone by it is good or not. Yeah, that's left for the policymakers to decide. And about lucrativity, I think that Nigeria is one of the best places to own properties. And I'll say this, right? As a serial investor that I am, I have invested in the UK, I have invested in the UAE, I've invested in Nigeria, and then I think that when it's time to convert solid assets to liquid, which is one of the reasons why people invest in properties to hold all of these values. And whenever they want to get into the liquid state, they quickly try to put their property on sale. But if you put the property on sale in Nigeria and the UAE in the UK at the same time, and then the one in Nigeria will sell faster. And I know this because I've done it quite a lot of time. And then, for diasporans, because of especially what is happening now, the naira losing a lot of value against the pounds, against the USD, we think that is a very good time to buy because you can then do more or acquire more with your pounds or with your dollars that you've earned. And then again, if you go the demand and some supply routes, that when all of this is happening, the uncertainties, demolitions, the demand for property purchase is very low, and then the supply is very high. And then when supply exceeds demand, the prices, go down. And then when the prices go down and you have stronger currency, and when you convert your pounds to naira, you have much more money to do acquisition. And I think that this that is the best time, when the price is low, when the forex is stronger, and all of this all of these factors.
Obviously, you've been doing this for quite a long time. As you said, you've invested across the world. You are having an event in London. The sentiment at the moment is that, my goodness, it's not safe. How are you going to, just to go back to that question, I want you to talk specifically about your event in London this week. You are definitely going to get these questions. How are you going to convince Nigerians living in the UK that it is indeed safe, and these fears that we did have years, decades ago that are coming back can be allayed by investing in a property such as a Veritasi property?
Yeah, so what I said, to summarize everything that I said, is Veritas is an advisory company, apart from the fact that they're a development company as well. And so we have a lot of clients that we advise, and not just to buy properties from us, but also we help them prepare their portfolios all around the world, also in Nigeria. And then you, first of all, we just take them through the process of acquiring genuine properties by, choosing, some of the best legal team to do their proper search. I mean, we've built almost 1,000 houses in Nigeria, and not one of those houses have been demolished or been said to be on the government drainage or be on where the government does not approve. That means that we're doing something right. So we take them to the process, the compliance regulatory process, the legal process as well. And then we convince them, we tell them that all of those properties being demolished are actually not built the right way, and
Okay.
and it's not it's not a matter of sorry to let me just land. It's not a matter of some people are witch hunting some people that just not built the right way, and then we show them the right way which
There's
is
lots
done.
I want to talk to you about, Adetola. We don't have much time, so we're going to have to move quite swiftly. You've talked about your KPI, and I suppose it's the reason why the Financial Times quite recently recognised your firm as being one of the 100 fastest growing African companies. Talk to me very briefly, if you can, about where you sit in terms of that long-term growth trajectory.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, I'll say it's a privilege for Financial Times to think that we're one of the 50 fastest growing companies in Africa. And then, for Veritasi, we do not just want to develop properties in Nigeria. Recently, we did an expansion into the Ghanaian market. We want to go into the Kenyan market. Also, we want to do 2 million bed student accommodation across Africa. So what Financial Times did to us is just giving us some more brand equity and telling foreign investors to put money in our project for expansion across Africa. And then just because of that mention alone, I do not want to mention names, but we have investors from South Africa, from our family offices from outside Nigeria trying to put money in our project and for our expansion and for all of our impact, the stories that we're selling across Africa. So for the long-term trajectory, it's really been helpful. Last year, I was speaking at the Financial Times conference in London about affordable housing, and I think that some of my submissions or some of our submissions have been taken out, and obviously the government authorities are working on it.
That's right. You spoke about, affordable housing, which is a really good point, because affordable housing, everybody wants that, whether you're in Lagos or in London. But some of the concerns that we're hearing from Lagosians and from those in the diaspora is that Lagos, Abuja, some of these cities now are totally unaffordable, even with good schemes such as the ones that you're putting forward. Is this a concern for your business that even though the Naira is pretty unstable at the moment, and of course you get more for your pound, but people are really concerned that, I can't live on the island. I can't even live in sort of, close catchment areas on the mainland. It's totally unaffordable. How is this affecting your business?
So I'll say it and I'll be as truthful as possible. I do not think that any individual or any private developer can solve the problem of affordable housing without government intervention. And it's one of the things that I've always said, that if we're going to solve the problem of affordable housing, because lands are not affordable in Nigeria, especially when you mention the island or the close proximities on the mainland in Nigeria, lands are very expensive, and this cost, even cost of building materials. If you are going to take debt to finance the project, the cost of money now in Nigeria is unbearable, and then this cost have to be transferred to the clients, to the consumers. So there needs to be some form of intervention from the government, or some form of partnership, when the government comes in and say, look, this land, or take this land, just bring your money for construction, and then take this money at single digit interest rate, and do all of this and solve all of these problems. Well, anytime, if we still keep leaving private developers to try to solve the problem of affordable housing, I do not think it's possible, because private developers also want to make profit. They want to, obviously, shareholders need to get dividends at the end of the year, and all of these things must be put into decision making. So my point is, for properties to be affordable, for us to solve the affordable housing problems in Africa, it has to be a form of there has to be a form of marriage between the private sector and the public sector.
Okay, we've totally run out of time, but I do want to ask you this last question. Although you have covered it, you do have an event this weekend. I'm sure this is some of the points you're going to be covering. Just finally, Adetola, what advice do you give to those of us living in London, living in America? We do want to invest back home, but we are frightened, shall we say. What are some of the first steps that need to be taken? Very briefly and succinctly, if you can.
First step is to call me. I'm just joking.
We'll put your number on the screen.
Yeah, I think that first of all, the investment scenario in Nigeria right now favors Nigerians living in diaspora, because obviously strong USD and strong pounds against the naira. And then secondly, the properties are a bit cheaper now because there's a lot of supply and not a lot of demand as well. But again, the most important part is to do your due diligence very well. And then how do you do your due diligence? Is by appointing, a solicitor that's a property solicitor, not just a litigator or someone that does the capital market transaction. A property lawyer to do the DD, go to the government to check if the developer is compliant to all the things that are necessary, before a construction is started, which is what we also do, apart from the fact that we're developers, So just like I've said, they call us, and then we take all of this process, and then we make it easy.
Absolutely. I think they should call me first, then I'll connect them with you. Really fascinating speaking with you. Really dicey times. Hopefully you can calm the nerves in the diaspora this weekend, you and your team. Adetola Nola, who is the CEO of Veritasi Homes and Properties PLC, which, as I said, was recently recognized in the Financial Times as being one of the fastest growing African companies. A massive achievement. Thank you so much for your time and expertise today.
Thank you so much.